And we're live. This is the check-in show. You'll see that there's 5 faces in the picture. I there's only 2 here, so
Yeah,
we're hoping everybody is good.
and joins us soon.
Yeah. This is usually wakey time for AJ,
Yeah,
and Claudio is MIA right now. I think actually Claudio thought the show was starting at
noon.
noon, and
Ah,
because he messaged like a couple minutes after noon saying, "Hey, are we doing the show?" Or
uh,
and I didn't realize that he didn't. I just replied, "Yeah, of course we're doing the show." Uh, so I didn't
well,
realize that he might have been in the backstage at that point, or looking to go into the backstage,
yeah,
because I don't
oh,
think I had sent the link at that point.
no.
Oh!
Oh,
We have
hey,
AJ
there's AJ
Young.
himself. There we
Enjoy,
go.
enjoy that quality. I'm at like 480p.
You okay?
No, I'm just I'm between cameras and my OBS uses my phone, so like this is my native camera to my computer, which I'm only using because I don't have any other camera but my phone for OBS.
That's
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah. But we're not on OBS at this point.
Yeah, no, I use OBS for streaming, so
Okay.
that's the only camera I have is my phone streaming through OBS. So until I
Right.
get a camera that connects directly to the computer, this is literally the native camera.
Right.
I got it. I tried when I started. I tried using OBS, and it was my computer was not powerful enough
Mm-hmm.
to actually run OBS. And I wasn't smart enough too. There's a lot of stuff you got to do with OBS.
Yeah, it's been a learning experience, and I'm because of the way my friend does it, and my friend is teaching me how to stream. But because of the way he does it, I'm literally like 1 foot in OBS, 1 foot in Streamlabs, and then like,
Well, Streamlabs is OBS.
well,
Or
but that's
StreamYard.
well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I have to have a Streamlabs dashboard to have like alert notifications, and I have to have
Yeah.
OBS to like manage my screen. So like, I'm opening up like 4 programs before I can even open Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, the joys
Yes.
of reaching an
Technology.
audience.
Yeah.
I mean, but the software is out there for people to basically have a home studio
Right.
themselves.
Yeah. I'm surprised I put
Their
mine
own
together
television
with.
studio in their house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I think I saw a car go by in the reflection of Mike's TV.
That's possible.
Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
there it is.
Yep.
Is that busy traffic today, Mike?
Yeah, the boulevard's always busy, but yeah.
Is it noisy where you live?
It's well, if the windows are open, you know, it can get a little bit noisy at rush hour, but by and large, it's not that noisy.
Mm.
And we also have like in the summertime we have air conditioning running, and in wintertime we have the furnace running with gas furnace, so there's always some sound. And but the house itself is fairly quiet, so it's like we don't get a lot of it. There's not a background din like if we were next to a highway or something like that.
Yeah.
There is traffic, but it's not like there's not heavy trucks usually. There's not, we do have a bus that goes by every 20 minutes or so, but it's not that noisy. So it's like we're more than used to it now. We've been here over 30 years. So
Where I lived across the street from where I live on a corner of like Côte Saint Luc, and I used to live on like the flat side facing Côte Saint Luc.
right.
And the difference is incredible because just on Côte Saint Luc, on
Yeah.
the top floor,
Yeah.
my apartment would rattle when trucks would go
Wow.
by.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now on the corner on the other side, like I don't experience anything, no trucks, I can't hear anything. But just literally, I can see my old apartment from my window,
Right.
and that difference was enough to rattle my whole house whenever a truck went by.
Wow.
Hmm.
So,
Claudio has
Claudio,
All right.
Hello.
how's traffic in your neck of the woods, Claudio?
Good. Traffic is fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you think the show started at
Noon.
What is it? 12?
No. I was just no, because I was running some errands, and I'm like, because I was trying to rush. That's why.
All right.
Well,
Yeah,
glad for you to join us, and glad that you're here now.
Yeah.
How's everybody?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
terrific.
I'm good. I finished work last night at 4 a.m.
Ooh,
Or maybe that was this
God.
morning.
That's
that would have been
on-set life.
early morning. Yes.
Yeah. So that was started at 2:45 to 4 a.m.
Wow, long shoot.
Yep. It was kind of neat because we were on a train
Ooh.
and they set up lights, so it looked like we were passing stuff. So these lights would be going on the windows.
That's cool.
It's
Nice.
neat.
Yeah.
It's the camera magic.
Like an actual train, like a Via train or something, or
Yes.
or
Yeah.
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 Oh, cool. Okay.
Nice.
So it's for a French production. I don't think I can mention, but it was
Okay. Well,
no crazy makeup this time. That was
The I think it was what was the most recent Punisher, Warzone?
No, you mean the one with Ray
Movie.
Stevens? Oh yeah. Ray
Yeah.
Stevens. Yeah, 2009, 8 or 9. Yeah.
So that movie had a had a scene filmed on like 3rd Avenue Lachine at like the very bottom, and I lived at 3rd Avenue Lachine. And when they started filming, my friends and I thought the sun was rising at like 11 at night
wow.
because they had like their
bright lights.
yeah, they had their lights set up over there, and it
Uh-huh.
looked like the sun rising over the horizon. It was intensely bright, and I was just like,
Wow.
it's shocking like for that moment that you're like, it's 11:30 at night and it looks like the sun's rising. Has the world broken?
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, they're filming a movie. That's just they're I don't know, going for day for night or something.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's like no, they couldn't afford to actually film a day, so they actually pretend to make it night. The movie was
it
garbage.
also they might be controlling the weather a little bit better, just
Yeah.
because at night
Yeah.
it's usually sets like like there's less chance that it'll break out in rain during the night than it will during
True.
the day.
Yeah.
True. True.
And yeah, but day for night is actually when they shoot in the daytime, but they
And then
give
put
it
a
a low
dark
exposure
filter.
to make it
Yeah.
darker.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, because I remember that's how Midway was. Like Midway, our scene was it looked early morning, but we filmed like a bright afternoon around 2 o'clock, followed by snow. But give it to the
That's
give it to the give it to the crew that they actually made everything look beautiful.
Yeah.
That it wasn't snowing. They didn't. They got all the snow and everything.
I was on one set where we had to we were dressed as I think it was spring,
In
like
February.
light spring coat and stuff, but it was winter, and so the before we started shooting, the crew went by with these like flamethrowers, cleaning the sidewalk, just all the snow.
That's one way to clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You and
no,
the
I-
extras are like, can we get a hit of that? Just a little fire over this way.
Just give me
I
a little
remember- yeah.
glancing blow.
I remember. I was on film set, right, and we were outside. We had to film the entire scene outside, but it looks like those outdoor Christmas kiosks, and then there were like those fire pits,
Oh,
along.
yeah.
So
Right.
it was so cold that I literally took my gloves, put them over the fire, and I'm like, I hope I get a thing on. But obviously, I turned my hands into fists, and then everyone thought my hand was burning. I'm like, no, I was burning my glove a little bit. I don't care. But then it was nice and warm. We were outside for like a good 10 hours.
You got to watch out. Some gloves are made with synthetics, and synthetics will go up in a flash.
Oh,
And then you have
yeah.
burning hands.
No, that didn't happen to me, thankfully.
Yeah,
Good.
the synthetics are also like they're sticky too. So
Yes, they stick
Yeah.
to you, and they're on fire, and they stick to your flesh. So it's like
Instant napalm.
hooray!
Well,
Winning.
guys, it was
Winning.
nice knowing you.
there was we'll just call you Stubbs. There was it was the real Harry Kerbert, and we were filming in 1950s the Harry Kerbert affair. Sorry, 1950s look and all that. And it was nighttime, and it was we were shooting in the fall, and I had it was basically the cops were at a neighbor's house taking someone out, and I was dressed in pajamas and a robe. That was my wardrobe, and slippers.
Well,
So it
okay.
was cold.
Yeah.
And I originally they said, okay, you'll be in this window. Oh, we just lost AJ. He's going to be coming back though. You're going to be in this window. And then somebody said, no, we want him to be like the nosy neighbor on the right. So I'm out on the yard, and then as the ambulance is getting ready to go, I think it's the ambulance people were going in. I'm to walk away, but the path I had to walk away was to go in front of the ambulance, was just this old 1950s like a van or like delivery type van,
Sedan delivery, yeah.
and so I'd go in front of that, and I knew I was being blocked from the cameras, and I'd open the robe just because the heat off of the engine. And other extras were seeing me do this over and over again because they were taking the shots, and they were going, why did they tell you to do that? I said, they didn't tell me to do that.
That was cool.
I'm just trying not to freeze.
Right. I like to flash cars.
Yeah.
Big fan of just creeping.
Yeah, exactly.
They see me creeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was there's a lot of fun things that they do for various weathers.
Yeah, they
Et
do.
cetera.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's probably kept me off of like trying to act, is being in Montreal and knowing that I'd probably only get a job between like December and February, and I would just hate it.
There's a lot of stuff that shoots like in the fall and in the spring.
Yeah. No, summer as well.
Summer, yeah, but it's more so in spring and fall than in winter or summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes you're inside. Like I there was one movie, I don't think I want to mention it because I'm going to say something a little bit bad. They rebuilt a block of New York,
Right.
inside a sound studio, and it looked perfect, but the pavement, even though it looked like pavement, was kind of like it was painted on, and it was like latex paint, and it was slippery, and they kept on wetting it down.
Ooh.
XMDP. I know.
Yeah, and I had to be running along that. So
Ooh. That's tricky.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot of people slipped and fell.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it was like what, plywood with painted to look
No,
like
it was
asphalt, or
I think they painted the concrete
they painted the concrete floor. Lovely.
because this was a like, and it was something to be removed later, right? This is a big sound studio.
Actually, I have a question for the movie fans between Claudio watching him and Paul Ash acting in him. What?
hey, Claudio Axon.
I know.
Yes.
I'm teasing Claudio. He's in Home Sweet Home Alone, the greatest movie of our century. No, but what do you guys think about because I've watched a lot of bad B movies, and I've seen a lot of things, and like there are scenes in movies where like you'll see an extra get like just knocked down by a horse or like pushed over by something, and I understand that like basically directors will accidentally like catch something in frame of like an accident or an injury, but like directors will always be like, yeah, but put that in the movie. How do you guys feel about like the whole like if you catch something on film and it's like an accident, probably show it in the movie?
Usually those things are stunt people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? You're not supposed to be near the horses unless you're trained with the horses.
Yeah.
Though accidents do occur.
Yeah.
If it is the only good take and they put it in the movie, they put it in the movie. Right? Like not even a low budget movie, but Hateful Eight.
When he smashed the
guitar.
The guitar.
Yeah.
Which
Oh my
was-
God.
the guitar that was loaned to them from the Gibson Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scream of her freaking out over the
Yes,
guitar was
because she was really freaking out because she's like, "You're not supposed to do that."
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see them glance at the director,
Yeah.
but no one's yelling cut, so they
Yeah.
they keep going.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the hardest things is when you are in frame.
Yeah. Well,
You don't cut.
Focus.
Leonardo DiCaprio smashing his hand onto that glass and then cutting up his hand and continuing with the scene with blood
Yeah.
dripping off his hand, actual real
there's-
blood. It's like,
there's-
yeah, Tarantino goes, "I'll keep that. Yeah, thank you."
There's 100% famous examples of like actors smashing something and hurting themselves and like focusing. But I'm just
Yeah.
wondering more or less like, do you think it kind of sucks that sometimes they'll put in like an extra or a stunt person getting like railed over because that's the best shot? But like that's the thing, as a movie fan, I'm like, that sucks for the person that got hit, but also like as the guy watching the movie, like that might be the one scene in the movie that I've actually paid attention to now.
There is sort of like an unwritten rule that if somebody dies,
Yeah.
that doesn't make it to the film.
Yeah.
Like there was a stunt woman who died on Deadpool.
Yeah, there was the
There
second one.
was- Yeah, there was the big was it Twilight Zone
Twilight Zone.
movie
Yes,
Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
where
Yes.
Harold Ramis, not is it Harold
No,
Ramis?
not Harold Ramis.
Max Landis is dead. John
That
Landis.
yeah,
Yeah.
John Landis.
Yeah.
John Landis was dogged forever for that scene because the pyrotechnics were too close to the helicopter. The helicopter came down on the
Before
the
he was
actor, the actor
canceled on
and the two
Twitter.
kids. Yeah.
Before he was canceled on Twitter, Max Landis apparently still gets flack for that accident.
You know,
So
I'm
it's
sure.
like not even his dad that still gets flack for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the when it comes to like obviously like a death on the camera, you definitely don't want to show that. And as a kid, when I didn't understand movies, deaths on camera always freaked me out because I was just like, oh my god, what if they actually just did that? And eventually, like as an adult, I'm like, even if you're watching a horrible B movie, the absolute nightmare of like someone dying on set and you having to deal with that, like there's no way to make that easier.
Yeah, they that can't possibly. There's no release that will allow them to use that shot.
Yeah.
There is because legally it's a snuff film.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
But you mentioned B movies several times, and Candyman, not the original Candyman, not so much a B movie. The actor getting covered in bees had in his contract that he got an extra $1,000 for every sting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? Like for stuntmen.
Yes.
Basically, there's like a set thing they do, but if it's anything extraordinarily dangerous, every stunt is negotiated. Like, so it's like, okay, I'm getting $5,000 a day to be there for general stunts. And then if it's a specific thing, like driving a car into a lake or, off of a pier or something like that,
Yeah.
or rolling a car,
Right.
we're negotiating a new sum.
Right.
On top of the
Yeah, and then of course there's very elaborate stunts that are like only the cream of the crop get those, and those things are like choreographed to the nth degree, and even then things screw up. So yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that because honestly, like it would feel wrong to like hire a stunt. Not that they're this cheap, but you hire a stunt actor for like $5,000, and you're like, all right, roll a car, jump off a cliff, like go diving in the ocean, swim around sharks, like for that one price. I'm glad they negotiate because.
Yeah,
God
and that's on
damn.
top of the 5,000, right?
Yeah, they
And-
get the flat fee for showing up, and then they start negotiating the tricks and.
Yeah. Now, what was the name? Shoot, I lost the thought. Sorry. I'm still drinking my tea. It's
Yeah.
And then you've got directors that sort of like trick the actors especially like actors who are not really stunt people, but they're doing a scene where there's going to be sort of a component of a stunt, like in Die Hard, Alan Rickman
with the
has
drop.
the drop. he was told that they would go on 3, and they dropped him on 2, and that look of abject terror as he's dropping is because
Because he thinks the stunt
like-
went wrong.
holy shit, yeah, they've let me go too soon.
Yeah, that allegedly was an accident. That wasn't intentional.
Yeah. So they
The
say.
director covering his ass, like, "Oh, of course
Yeah.
that was an accident.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he lived, right? Yeah. I'll imagine he died.
He's like-
Fuck. Yeah, it was an accident.
The director's like, oh yeah, that was an accident. The greatest victory shot in all of movie history. Yeah,
Right,
total
keep it-
accident. Totally did
keep
that.
it,
Yeah,
keep it in.
100%.
Keep it in.
Yeah.
Don't you edit that out? I swear to God, there's a reason we only filmed one time, one scene.
Or else I will deduct your pay.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of safety in there when they're doing like the heavy choreographed stunts, like even stuff that you might not even think is a heavy choreographed stunt, like like there's rules that they're supposed to follow, like they do it with all the safety measures in place at 1/4 the speed. Say if it's a wire effect and like somebody's dropping or whatever, they do it at 1/4 the speed, then they go to half speed.
The speed editing is something that I can tell when they do, like, everyone knows when they use the ultra high speed because like the fidelity of the video changes. But
Yeah.
they're like in the older movies when they do speed ups to like just add that little bit to car chases or just add that little bit to martial arts movies, it totally blinds me. I never notice it for the most part. I think that super easy trick is one of the better tricks for movie editing. It's just
Yeah,
a
well,
little
that's
turn
been-
up of speed.
That's
Yeah.
been around forever. I mean, look at Buster Keaton's movies.
And yeah, it fools me to this
So many
day.
of them. So many of them were exactly like that. The actual scene was slowed down. They filmed it in very slow speed, but they just filmed the up the speed of playback when they copied it when they printed it. So like the thing where he's sitting on the nose of the train, and they will also do things like the train comes up and stops right in front of the camera. Well, that's all filmed backwards. So
That's true. Reversing shots. I forgot.
Reversing
Yeah,
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a film that Wesley Snipes did called 7 Seconds, and there's a cheap car chase scene. You actually see the cars, I think, going 10, 20 miles an hour. They're all like really slow, and then Wesley Snipes is shooting them, and then the female character, she goes, "Why are you having a hard time shooting them?" And Wesley Snipes is like, "Because they're moving too fast." I'm like, wow. This, you know what? I want to be an extra in that movie. And
Just
it's
if
like,
you
"All right, guys, gotta go."
accidentally miss the editing.
Exactly.
It's like the old 70s car chase ones though. You could sort of tell when they sped it up because like when they take a corner,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the car doesn't react as it should at the speed it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bullet with Steve
Yeah.
McQueen. That is by
That's
far
the
one of
ultimate
my
car chase movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
That's my
and
favorite
Vanishing
film.
Point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vanishing Point is amazing
Yeah.
too.
Is
I-
it ultimate in the sense of it's amazing or ultimate in the sense of it's goofy? Because I watch B movies, so I get these terminologies mixed up.
No,
I-
the Bullet was a masterpiece of
Okay.
the stunt driving. First of all, McQueen did a lot of his own driving, and McQueen was a race car driver, so he knew his way around vehicles. And a lot of the shots were like they were done in 1 or 2 takes because they were that good. And the guy who was driving the other car, the one that McQueen was trying to in the car chase, he was also a phenomenal driver. So it's like the whole sequences were so choreographed. Plus, they were doing them like on site in San Francisco, going over those hills, the bumps in the hill. Because I've if you've ever been to San Francisco, those things are real. Those things, those cross
That
streets.
is the movie that every other movie, every other scene
Tries
is
to
copying.
aid.
with the cars.
That's the barometer.
Okay.
Yeah, like Drive with Ryan Gosling. It took a bit from Bullet.
Okay. Drive was good. I'd actually go back and check out Bullet.
Yeah,
'Cause
Drive. Actually, go ahead. Sorry, AJ.
Well, I like old bad B movies, but like I also respectfully like the movies that the B movie directors were like, oh, I'm gonna try and copy this, and then that's how you got 30 million B movies. It's just one like directors trying to copy that one. So many people trying to copy Heat. So many people trying to copy like Lethal Weapon. You get all these great B movies out of just someone picking a genre and being like, "Oh, I can do that," and failing.
There
miserably.
are so many Pulp Fiction clones that came out
Oh my
after Pulp
God.
Fiction because
Yeah.
it was different. And so now if somebody watching Pulp Fiction for the first time is going, "Oh, well, that's not that
Yeah.
original." And
Yeah.
they go,
Yeah.
"No, this is what was copied."
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
And to think that actually Pulp Fiction itself is an homage to films
Yeah.
in its own right. Like they're copying little bits, but the editing and story arc and the idea of these everyday gangsters.
did anybody see the new movie X?
No.
No.
Okay, it's actually so it's about it's set in the 70s. So these couple of like porn porn director and
I'm in.
actors, they go to a mansion to try and film porn, right?
Right.
But it's a slasher film. So the director there's a slasher amongst this group of people. So the director's filming it. And he goes, "All right, we're gonna make a snuff film, but you see everything. You see, like like at one point the director in the film, he's like, all right, you know what, girls on doing cowgirl, and he goes, yeah, all right, go slower. But then there's a slasher comes out of nowhere and kills people. The director is so much on drugs that the actor and actress are yelling because they're scared, and the guy goes, no, keep going. And I'm like, oh
There's-
my god, this is in theaters.
What-
Jesus.
Okay, there's Murnau's Nosferatu,
Yeah.
and I think it's called Shadows of the Vampire, which was a modern take. They had Eddie Izzard in it.
Nice.
John Malkovich plays basically Murnau, and it's about the filming of that, but like a fictionalized story about how Murnau actually found a real vampire for the film, and so it's eating its way through the cast and crew.
Oh my God. Yeah, I want to see that.
It's hilarious, and it syncs up so well with Nosferatu.
You saying that reminded me, isn't one of Willem Dafoe's early movies a movie about the making of like one of those Nosferatu films?
William Dafoe's in that one.
Okay, so we're thinking of the same movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think William Dafoe plays the vampire.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Because you were describing that, and I was like, oh yeah, that
Yeah.
does sound like something I want to see.
There's another movie coming out that is of a slasher attacking a porn site, or it's a horror film about going to the country, and they're making.
Yeah, that's X.
Oh, that is X. Okay, all right, because it's not a mansion they go to; it's an old country house.
Yeah, no, but in this one it's
I mean, compared to all of our apartments, that's a
yeah,
mansion.
it's a mansion. Hey, I know it's
Oh,
a
sorry,
mansion in
Mike,
the
living
country.
large.
I did see a movie. Like I was sort of intrigued by the trailer, and then I went and I saw it, and it actually it could have been a stage play, and it was just so well done.
The Batman?
Called The Outfit.
Yeah, the outfit. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah.
It's a 1950s or 60s gangster film, and it's basically there's this guy who trained on Savile Row as a cutter, not he's not a tailor.
Yeah, tailor,
Anyone can
yeah.
be a tailor. Being a
Right.
cutter is
Right.
right. And so he has this little shop in Chicago, and he's this British guy. And there's a box at the back of the room, and so these guys come in and they're dropping envelopes in the boxes, dropping envelopes in the box. And it's just this guy and his, Chicago receptionist who run this shop. And like the phrase, the bottle episode, everything happens within that shop. And it just becomes a, there's like basically a gang war breaks out, and what they have in the shop is kind of the focal point of what's happening.
It reminds me of Tom Hardy's The Drop because it's similar. It's something similar to that.
It's got amazing twists. The actors are superb. The the writing, the dialogue, everything is really well done. There is violence,
Yeah.
but most of it is off screen. Like they'll show the person shooting the gun, and then the other
Right.
person's laying there. You're not seeing squibs blowing out everywhere, right? You know they
Like
there's-
old RoboCop days.
Yeah, no, not quite like old RoboCop days where the guy goes like
Just
a
gets-
bug on the windshield.
Yeah, it just gets plastered.
Oh man, that was fantastic. When I saw it younger, that was fantastic. But then after that, when I rewatched it recently, I'm like, man, this is bad.
I do think, like, not that I think the world should necessarily be like softer about movies, but like when people are like, oh, you can't do that with squibs and stuff like the 80s, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm glad that we have like this pocket of movies from the 80s that we can go see these people get like shredded, but I'm kind of glad it's not the focal point today. Like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Like, if people
Well,
have been
I mean-
using excessive
Yeah,
squibs
implied-
since
yeah.
the 80s, it'd be a lot.
Implied violence is always more psychologically affecting
Especially
the
with good
viewer.
sound effects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Than actual graphic violence. To me, graphic violence is a lazy way of doing it. If you sort of like imply it, the viewer then sort of can, even though he doesn't see it, can imagine it, and it makes it much more terrifying.
And
And
there
when
is
it comes,
there is
Sorry,
a
go ahead.
genre of horror film that they call splatter porn,
Yeah.
right? So people who want that can get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not actual pornography. It's just blood and
yeah,
guts everywhere.
like fanatical, yeah, for it.
No, we need these 80s guts and gore and violence. It's what
But
makes the movie. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
I find especially like maybe it's just because I'm not like I'm a fan of B movies and stuff, but I'm not like an educated film buff or anything. But when I see those like ultra violent 80s films, I kind of just want to see a Paul Verhoeven ultra violent 80s film. Like I don't need every 80s film to have ultra violence. If I want the ultra violence, it's because it's like specifically a Paul Verhoeven film that is using that excess as an element of the storytelling. So for
Yeah.
me, like I don't just want movies that have blood raining out of it. I want is that excess part of the whole project? Then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched some movies where with some friends sometimes, and when there's like so much violence that it becomes almost cartoonish, people
Yeah.
start laughing. It's like, no, this isn't funny. It's supposed to be like horrifying, but but when you actually sort of like tune into what's going on, you're thinking, yeah, this is goddamn, this is Wile E. Coyote.
The end of Django Unchained is a really good example of like really serious movie, really good, really intense,
Yeah.
and the ending is still good, but it
Yeah.
is a slide into cartoon.
Yeah,
I talked about last week Turbo Kid,
yeah.
Mhm.
right? Who has seen it? Just show of
I have
hands.
not.
I haven't seen
Okay.
it.
That
It's
film,
a cartoon.
it is a cartoon. It juxtaposes the like the happy like 80s like ET kind of
Right.
level with extreme gore.
Yeah.
To the point that it's there's a scene where that gets referred to by people as the totem pole scene.
Okay.
AJ knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I forgot that scene, and then you said totem pole, and I was like, how would that? Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
I actually could see the memory come back to your face.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
and it is almost used. It's cartoonish and used for comedic effect, but it's neat. It's really neat, and that's I think the same people did the special effects on that. Did the special effects on that the movie that I was shooting last week.
Nice.
The one that involves the undead, and the special effects team is actually called the Blood Brothers.
Nice.
Well, kind of like then you have horror films like like Saw, the Saw franchise.
Well, that's
Which-
splatter porn.
Yeah, exactly. But then then you have Spiral, which is I'm like, why? Because Spiral was to me was disappointing.
You talk about Ewan McGregor's first film.
No, Spiral. Spiral came out with the book. It's called Spiral: The Book of Saws. It's with
Yes,
Chris
it's
Rock.
the
okay.
last Saw movie, which it's so weird. Like
Yeah.
you have Saw that's been like a splatter porn
Mhm.
genre breaker. Every few Saw movies kind of like resets the genre of splatter porn,
Mhm.
and then you have Spiral come out, and it's just like not splatter porn, and you're like, I'm sorry, what audience are you trying to grab here?
Yeah, exactly.
Saw has an audience. It's
Yeah,
splatter
exactly,
porn.
exactly.
Like-
I watched it in theaters. I'm like, and then apparently, like, Chris Rock is also because he's the writer and actor in this film, obviously. But at some point, you had to fight with Lionsgate because they wanted to have a PG-13 Spiral
Oh.
film. But I'm like, the whole point of Saw is
Was
rated
like-
R. It's like splatter porn, like as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I'm like, I don't know if it was because it was during the pandemic when things were open again and closed, but I was and my friend were the only ones in the theaters, and we're like, maybe it's weird seeing a film on the big screen and maybe we're missing something, but I'm like, the heck is this? The story was good. It was a typical, got to try to find a killer as a cop killer, which was cool. But I'm like, you guys are like the killings were lame. I'm like, and you even
Well, like,
showed,
you know,
No.
the one thing about movies with lots of special effects, especially like not CGI special effects, but actual
Practical.
practical special effects, is that the more they are exaggerated, the less believable they are.
yeah,
And we were referencing Bullet as the barometer of car chase.
Yes.
See, the reason Bullet is a barometer for that is because the way that they shot it and the way that the cars that they used and the way that it was done,
yeah,
it was actually realistic. The cars
it felt
actually
real.
sustained damage when they were going over those jumps. They didn't just jump and then go driving along like nothing was wrong with them. Because let's face it, if you take a car and you jump over something, you're going to do
knocking
some
some
damage to the
stuff
car.
loose.
The car is
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
less drivable. It's going to have, and in Bullet, that happens. Hubcaps fly off, fenders get bent. You can see the car's not handling it the way it was originally when he was driving, but the guy's still muscling it along the highway.
Yeah.
Whereas you see a lot of car chase scenes where car chase movies where the car gets like
Total.
it's like whatchamacallit there, Fast and Furious. The cars go through all sorts of crap, and they still drive like you're just they just
Or the
land
Matrix
out of the
Reloaded,
shop,
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just hits the ground. Like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, if I drive 60 miles an hour from a
Yeah.
plane and then I hit
Yeah.
the ground, oh, my car
Yeah.
will just momentum will just keep it going, and you're like,
No,
yeah,
or-
exactly.
no,
Physics works.
the car won't fold up onto itself because of physics,
Yeah. or the Matrix Reloaded, when
Yeah.
Morpheus and Trinity are driving, and then you have the twins trying to shoot them down. The car has full of bullets, broken windows, and they're still driving. I want to be I want to be an extra in those kind of movies, and then our car is total. I'm like, all right, guys, let's go, keep driving, let's go, come on.
Well, actually, one of the movies that I saw that I thought also sort of got it right was John Wick, because in the John Wick movies, the car gets destroyed, and eventually the guy has to abandon the car because he can't drive it anymore. So it's like this is a
Well-
realistic car chase, realistic
Well-
thing about because otherwise like you see, especially like things like remember the old Dukes of Hazzard? They would jump that car like 20 feet in the air. The thing would land. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
even a
it's-
reinforced car, because I know cars. I was into hot rodding stuff. Even a very reinforced cars with roll cages, with bracing and all that will sustain damage. Won't drive the same way after the stunt.
I was gonna say the General Lee.
General
at the-
Lee.
At the time that they had that would have been an all steel chassis at the time,
Yes.
wouldn't it? Like that
Yeah.
machine
Yeah.
was a machine, and that thing would not, even with the steel chassis, it would not have survived one of those
No.
jumps.
No.
And I love
No,
in
because
editing,
it had a subframe on
Yeah.
the car. The car was partly unibody car. It wasn't a full unibody car, but it did have a subframe and a front clip. And if you hit those things wrong, the front clip bends. and that's it. End of story. You can't drive the car anymore.
I want
I
to.
think I think in the series of Dukes of Hazzard, I think they went through something like 40 or 50 cars.
Not
They
surprised.
they went through like 20 a season, I think.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
I
And I think it was on for 3 seasons or something.
We're gonna use
I can't
tricycles this time. We're gonna do an action movies with tricycles.
Something about John Wick I kind of want to mention, like Equilibrium,
Yeah.
which is Sean Bean and Christian Bale.
I
Dominic
have
Sort
it on
of-
Blu-ray. It's one of my
Right.
favorites.
Sort
Yeah,
of-
Dominic Purcell's
they
good-
sort of
good in there.
invented the gun fu.
The gun kata.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it had appeared in other films, whatnot, but that's sort of like the idealized version. And then John Wick
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
gun fu.
You know how?
I like to refer to John Wick 2 as using car fu.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like he's using it as an extension of his body to hit
Right.
people.
Yeah.
As
But do you know how how the director of Equilibrium invented gun fu? He was in his backyard and was just bored, so he was just trying to get used to holding a gun, and then he decided to you know what, these moves are cool, and I'm gonna I want to use it in a film, and he wrote Equilibrium.
I'm
then
honestly
that's-
that makes Equilibrium a little bit better to me because
Yeah.
Equilibrium's kind of a goofy movie, and the idea that the director was like playing in his backyard like a kid, and
Yeah.
that's how you get a movie. That's so ridiculous. And
Fuck.
I love Equilibrium. Like I'm
Yeah.
saying this as a fan. It's a goofy
Yeah.
film.
It
but
is,
It's fun.
but-
it's Fahrenheit 451 with guns,
yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly,
with a little bit of Stanislaw Lem thrown in there too.
Yeah, honestly, no, because I was looking into this, and it's actually interesting because Dominic Purcell, who played the character at the beginning of the film, the one that they go spoilers, the one that they go and kill, he was actually supposed to be the protagonist of the film, but so it was supposed to be a Dominic Purcell film, but then something happened, and then Christian
Oh,
Bale.
that would have
That would have been
that-
much better.
that would
Dominic
have been much
Purcell.
better, and that would have
Yes.
put Dominic Purcell ahead of Prison Break like 10, 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and
'Cause
then
he
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
pop off till Prison Break.
Yeah, no, he popped. Then he went to Mission Impossible 2. He played the goon named Urk, and then after that he was in North Shore. Then he was in Prison Break, and then you think, Dominic Purcell is popping off, and then he came out with crappy films like Blade Trinity and Primeval, and
He
now
wasn't the
he's
worst
doing-
part of Blade Trinity, okay? He does an excellent Dracula.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And I mean this in the most respectable way possible. He does the most excellent like goth gay Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
like wearing like what's it called, like a netted shirt and everything. He
Yeah.
looks great. I loved him as
Yeah.
Dracula.
And then the fact that he did his own sword stunts, that was great. And then you had him in Primeval and Killer Hunter with Jason Statham. But now it's like besides Legends of Tomorrow, he was in Blood Skies, which was okay, but he wasn't in there that much. But
And I do love that when it comes to Legends of Tomorrow and the DC stuff, most critics are like, the DC CW stuff is kind of garbage. But Dominic Purcell's always good to see on screen, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
man, getting the
Yeah.
love he deserves.
yeah, no, like when I saw him in Flash with Wentworth Miller, I'm like, all right. And then I'm like, okay. And then I figured, and then I found out that there be standalone Flash films. I'm like, all right, I can't watch this because this is not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But again,
It's
it's,
not worth
always
it.
good to see Dominic Purcell, Wentworth
Yeah.
Miller, all them working again. You're like, nice
Yeah.
to see you guys. Good to
Yeah,
see
you know what? Dominic Purcell deserves more love and better films.
You mentioned sword fights. This is a weird piece of trivia. Highlander, Christopher Lambert
Yeah.
Yeah.
is nearly blind.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so you'll see it in some of the sword fights. In that is like the other guy will block before he swings, right?
Because
Because
he's oh shit, Christopher Lambert's going off.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, let's go.
He can't
So-
see. Ah.
You know what? If you're doing an action scene with swords and Christopher Lambert, all you gotta do is just put your sword in front of yourself, and then he just hits it. You don't even have to move. And then that's how you do an action film with Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, I thought Highlander was like really, really good, and then I watched it as an adult, and I was like, this is a bad movie.
But was that?
But it
might
was
be-
a good bad movie.
No,
Yeah.
it's one of those top tier good bad movies where it's got enough of its own ideas, it's got enough of its own action that even if you watch it now and you're like, oh, the action is kind of bad, but you can at least convince yourself, oh, it's subtle. The action is subtle. They're just quick sword fights because they're both really good at it. But like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
like you
Um,
can give it a lot of passes.
Yeah.
I mean, the mythology of it spawned like a TV series that
Yeah.
ran
Yeah,
for a bunch
the
of seasons.
mythology is
That even
cool,
had a
flat
spin-off
out.
series.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But was Sean Connery in one of the Highlander
Yes.
first
And
films?
the second one, I think.
First one.
First one.
First one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
he
no,
tried
no.
And
Chris Highlander.
who did I was watching some old stand-up and somebody
Reference that.
referenced it because Sean Connery,
Right.
like they were how Sean Connery does how he acts
Right.
is like they list off,
Mhm.
I'm Sean Connery, I'm a Irish detective in Chicago, or
Yeah,
Irish beat
right.
cop in Chicago. I'm
Right.
Sean Connery, I'm
Although myself, I'm Scottish.
in October Game, I'm Sean Connery, and I'm a Russian
He was-
submarine
Yeah.
commander.
He
And
was
then
good.
In Highlander, it annoyed me in the joke because he said, I'm Sean Connery and I'm playing a Spaniard in Highlander, where a French guy is playing a Scotsman." But the thing is, he didn't play a Spaniard.
No.
Yeah.
He played an
But-
Egyptian
Yeah.
Right.
who was currently living in Spain.
You know what? One of the many films I like of Sean Connery is Marnie, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. So it's about a woman. Every time she sees red, she freaks out, and then Sean Connery plays like a psychiatrist, and then he goes, "I'm here to help you, and I'm
she
going to make
freaks out
sure."
at least once a month.
No, she freaks out a lot in this movie, and then like at one point, Sean
Subtle,
Connery,
yeah.
AJ, subtle, very
Yeah.
subtle. Yeah.
like like at one point she's freaking out and she goes, "What?" He goes, "What's going on?" She goes, "Red." You see the camera where of Hitchcockian camera work. It's like the screen's flashing red. She's like, and I'm like, and then you have Bernard Herrmann's over the top music. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I didn't even realize it as a kid, but like I used to watch those like Alfred Hitchcock shorts on TV. My mom was like, "Oh, these
Yeah.
are great. You should watch these."
Alfred Hitchcock
like-
presents.
Yeah, and I watched them as a kid, and I didn't even realize like that might have been like my first experience with like I want to say horror,
Suspense
but like
horror.
you guys know what I mean. Yeah, like
Mhm.
like
Suspense.
horror.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
like suspense and horror from like
Yeah. Yeah.
concept.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
the horrifying things in Alfred Hitchcock is like not necessarily what he's showing you, but
No,
like the
of course not.
implication of like
Well-
what had to happen to get to this point, and you're like, that's pretty brilliant.
Well, in the perfect example is in his signature shower scene, you never see the knife hit Janet Leigh.
Person, yeah.
You never actually see somebody doing the stabbing
you-
thing in Psycho, but you never see. And he only focus what he focuses on is the drain of the shower. You actually see like. And he uses chocolate syrup because it's black and white. And you don't see red, you don't see blood, but it's implied, and it's all the psychology behind
Yeah.
it. He was a master at that because
Mhm.
it was all implied, and it was even more terrifying because you had to have it in your head.
I saw. Oh no, go ahead, Paul.
I did a check because the Ewan McGregor's first film. It was early in his career. I think he did some TV first, but it's called Shallow Grave. The movie poster is a spiral staircase. That's why I was thinking spiral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we're off air, I'll show you guys the trailer. But
Nice.
it has for not being graphic but being graphic. It's 3 roommates have to get rid of a body.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That always works out well.
Yeah, and so they draw lots, and then the person who lost can't go through with it, so one of them steps up, and you just hear the body being broken.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
And then the dynamic between these 3 friends who shared a flat
Right.
has changed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a real suspenseful.
Nice. No, I was gonna say like there was an interview with Hitchcock did with Francois Truffaut, and Hitchcock's like, to make all the blood to make the blood, I had to use chocolate sauce. I'm like, God damn, man, he really emphasized on the sauce. But yeah, no, Hitchcock was just brilliant when he was talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad he was womanizer, but. Apart from that,
I mean, honestly, go back in Hollywood, and it's hard to find
Yeah,
any
right.
successful
It's-
man
it's
that
like-
isn't a piece
yeah,
of shit.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. That was part and parcel of the whole thing. You know.
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Well, you know what? You gotta let me be a piece of shit to you. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
That's it. No.
And then after the movie's done, he's like, "And now I'm gonna tank your career because blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah."
Because you
Because
didn't
I
sleep
can.
with me.
Because
Yeah,
I can.
Because you're gonna blame what was it? He blamed James Stewart for the Vertigo
Yeah.
that flopped at the time because it was going to be in North by Northwest. Well, he wanted James Stewart always thought that Hitchcock was talking to him about North by Northwest, right? So James Stewart thought he had a higher chance of being in this film. So what Hitchcock did, he purposely put this project on hold because he wanted Cary Grant to be in this film. So whenever when he found out that James Stewart was going to be in another project, Anatomy of a Murder, then Hitchcock casted Cary Grant. I'm like, wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
that's
he
the
was a
other
piece
thing
of
is-
shit. But can you imagine anyone else but Cary Grant in North by Northwest?
I can imagine Vin Diesel. I'm kidding.
It's especially harsh for like actors, especially back then. I mean, I'm sure it still
Yeah.
happens to this day, but like,
Yeah.
when directors do that with actors, it's like
Mhm.
it's hard to like. For me, it's easy to remember. For directors, it must be hard to remember that like these pawns that you're like playing this
Yeah, they're
little
actually
game of
people,
chess
yeah.
with. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
human beings that like I'm not
Have
saying
feelings,
you
have
owe them
emotions,
anything. Yeah, but like don't play chess with these people's bodies. Like that's so messed.
Like a modern example of well, that's not even modern now. There was an actor on Babylon 5, and the actors who were on Babylon 5, J. Michael Straczynski said, you can't do Star Trek.
Yeah.
You can't. And one actor said, well, they're offering me money. Like,
Yeah.
you're not paying me to not do them.
Right.
And I'm too important for you to kill off.
Right.
And in the next season,
Yeah,
he
they
dies off screen.
course.
They blew up the ship he's on.
Yeah.
But talking about directors being jerks. Humphrey Bogart.
Pricks, absolute pricks.
Humphrey Bogart in African Queen. It was the
Oh
last
my
time he
God,
worked with that
yes.
director.
Yeah.
He had to go into the water, and was told later that they're going to put some fake leeches on him, but the director knew that the water had tons of leeches, and so when
It's
he
just
comes
gonna
out,
happen
and his
anyway.
face has the revulsion of the scene, like having leeches all over his body, and them having to be pulled off. It's real. And that director
So
again.
furious.
But didn't I remember because I saw the African Queen, and if I remember correctly, wasn't that the film that Cary Grant was a secondary character, but he was only in there for 10 minutes?
I can't remember.
Yeah, because I think it's either that or another movie. I remember because I took a film when I was taking film classes. I saw a Cary Grant movie. Well, I saw a Cary Grant movie, but I don't remember if I saw that specifically. But they were saying Cary Grant is like Cary Grant and whatever, and like in this film, the African Queen. He's only in there for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like 5 minutes of his dialogue, and it's like the other like 5 or 6 minutes is his body.
Yeah, he's not in the top 3 billing. The top 3 billing was Humphrey Bogart, Katharine Hepburn, and Robert Morley.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And it
Okay,
was
so I
John
think
Huston was the director, and that was
Yeah.
the last time he ever worked with Humphrey
Yeah.
Bogart.
that's true. That's true. Humphrey Bogart was an underrated actor as well.
No, he wasn't. He was highly respected as
Highly
an actor.
respected, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
He was royalty. No, I'm
Oh.
not seeing. I'm just looking at the cast list,
Yeah.
and
Not seeing Cary Grant.
don't see Cary Grant.
Oh, did I mention Cary Grant? No, sorry. I meant. Oh my God.
Robert
I
Morley.
meant. I meant Humphrey Bogart. Oh my God.
No, he's in.
He's
the full
in the
film.
movie the whole
The whole time. Then which
Yes,
film
He's the
was
captain
Humphrey?
of the African
He's
Queen.
the captain of the African Queen. He's the captain
And-
of the boat that goes down the river with Catherine Hepburn.
Then which film was a Humphrey Bogart in only for 10 minutes? But they advertise it as a Humphrey Bogart film. That is really, really odd. What's even more odd is I can't believe I said Cary Grant was in The African Queen. Like saying Dustin Hoffman was in Star
Hey,
Wars.
Look, pose there.
Yeah.
Oh,
chilling.
we
Hey,
got a moment of pet. This
Yes.
is great.
Yeah.
We should probably be wrapping up.
Yep.
Mike, what are you looking forward to for the next week?
Well, depending on how the weather, behaves, this is the week that I'm supposed to be having my windows and my patio door installed. But it's looking like there's going to be a couple of days of rain, so they don't install during while it's raining. So I'm not sure
They
that it's
should.
going to happen
They
this
should.
week. They should, but they let's face it, I wouldn't want them to install in the rain anyways. It would be a shitty installation. So, they have to open up the windows, they have to open up the walls and get in there. And I don't want moisture and wet inside the walls.
Just build a tent around your
Build a
house.
tent around it. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I should do. But I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to, I've got a couple of people coming in to do some evaluation on other work that I'm doing. But also, there's just we got some decent news about my mother-in-law this past week, and so we're looking forward to her getting finally treated for what she has. So we've got our fingers crossed and hoping on that. And I'm just sort of like keeping safe and well and staying away. I've happened yesterday to call my mother, and my mother announced to me that there's one of my sisters has COVID. Her stepdaughter has COVID. Another person I know, my brother, had COVID and is getting over it. So it's like, okay, we're really not out of this yet.
But everyone's okay. Besides...
Everyone's okay, but
Okay.
but still, it's like, okay.
But it's still going around, which is
It's
big
still
fear
going
for-
around. It's
Yeah.
still going around. I've heard, like Dan Laxer, I've heard had COVID. Pete Marier had COVID from Shom.
Mike
I've
Ward.
heard. Hey, yeah, there you go. So it's like, it's like Mike
I-
Ward had COVID and he was having shows and he hadn't tested positive yet. And he was still having shows. So it's like,
I
okay.
don't have any hot takes on this. I just I'm wondering if it's going to get to a point where COVID is just the new word for a flu, and it's never going to necessarily go away. We're just going to the flu have vaccinations every year.
They say that's the logical step. The logical step from going from pandemic to endemic condition is that the disease becomes less severe, but is ever present in the environment. So
Yeah. So
Which
is gonna be great
Derek
for-
LeGuinness.
yeah.
Not
Derek LeGuinness too. Yeah.
No, Derek. Montreal comedian with Derek Seguin.
Derek Seguin had it too.
Oh, Derek Seguin. Yeah.
He had it and had to cancel his Ottawa dates, and that's when Rob
remember
Pugh
that,
went
yeah.
in,
Rob
and
Pugh
Rob
ended
Pugh
up-
got assaulted on stage. So
I've heard of one or two other instances not in Canada but in the States where people have been assaulted on stage. It's like this, and let's face it, it's ridiculous. It was sort of like giving.
let's not end on a downer.
No, let's not end on a
Exactly.
downer.
All right.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
AJ, what are you looking forward to in the next week?
I am actually today. After this, I'm gonna take a shower, get cleaned up, try to feel ever present, and I'm gonna start my Twitch stream. I don't know, the thing is, I don't necessarily have anything planned for the Twitch stream. I'm just gonna start doing it and let my ADHD take over, and I'm pretty sure I'll be talking about anarchism and leftism within 5 minutes. But
Okay.
no stress. I don't have any lesson plan or anything for the stream. I'm just gonna watch some YouTube videos, talk about some stuff, and then see what happens from there. And then
Play it by ear.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to stress myself. I'm going to practice streaming before I worry about like getting some kind of like show down.
Hmm.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
starting that today around 3-4 o'clock.
3 or 4? Cool. Well,
Cool.
I know I've got some plans this afternoon, but I might try to watch it, and you'll leave it so we can watch it on repeat, right?
Yeah, all my stuff's just going to stay on VOD because that's easier
Yeah.
than taking it down.
Yeah.
But
Claudia?
I'll put a link in the chat.
Nice. No, just a couple of things. I think on Thursday night I'm going to go because Van Dad has a show up sign up, so I might go to that. But next week I have a couple of things. This week is a bit quiet except for Thursday, but I'm just gonna go work and then there we go.
Tuesday I'm gonna be doing a spot at the Nest, and Wednesday my good buddy the Love Doctors is hosting Vaudeville,
Terrific.
and I think there's still tickets left, and it's an amazing lineup we got. So,
Actually, I'm gonna come to Vaudeville this Wednesday.
you are cool.
Yeah, I'll come by.
All right. And I think that's our plans for the week. We just
Yeah.
Yep.
went over an hour.
Yep.
So it was good chatting with you guys, and
Always good.
thank you for anyone who there's people watching.
Yeah.
So thank you as well for
Yeah.
being wonderful. And anytime anyone wants to join in on the conversation, they're always welcome. I should have said that at the beginning, not the end. Foolish me.
Next time.
Bye. Next time.